Hello, this is John Jenkins, and I wanted to bring my first book review uh, to you. And the name of the book is At Every Turn by Anne Mateer. And the story of how I got this book. I was in a library and I saw this. I was just browsing the shelves. I had nothing in mind. So I just looked down the fiction aisle and I saw this book with this very well made photograph of this attractive woman on the cover, and I was like, oh, this is a period piece. I like period piece. I had just read uh, uh, Aria Rising by Elizabeth Redfern, and that was a period piece back in colonial times in Europe. So I like that book. So I thought this is gonna be a very interesting little period piece where they learn the history of the United States, the history of society, and they use that to formulate a convincing story. What kind of challenges would a woman from the early 1900s, late 1800s have to deal with? and you know, uh, so there was a problem though because I kept lurking in the library, day after day, because I didn't want to check out. I didn't want to check out too many books that I wasn't reading. So I would just, every time I go to the library, I would just lurk and, read the titles on books and read the, I would just, I would just read the comments on the back, from the advanced reviewers and all this other stuff, and the professional editors, things of that nature. But I when I read the book at every turn, when I read the book at every turn, I saw the cover. I wasn't able to make the mental connection, the obvious connection as to what the book was about. So part of the reason I liked the book, it seemed like a mystery. So I couldn't put together what the book was about, and one day I was lurking. I wasn't checking out books, but I was just lurking, waiting for the day when I could check this out. And I actually read the uh, the the title on the back, which says uh, you can't read it because it's backwards in the camera, but uh, it says she's off to the races. And it said she's off to the races, and when I read that, that spoiled that spoiled the whole book for me because I hadn't put I hadn't put two and two together, uh, and I I still thought it was just a historical book, but it after I read that title, it it spoiled the book for me, and it really spoiled the experience. I I figured that this book was one of those books where it's like some kind of way this woman who was born back in a time where women weren't allowed to do anything except have children and be maids, but some kind of way this woman like becomes a racing champion or you know becomes president or something like that. I mean, one of those books where they just don't even like take into consideration the context of history and how things actually would have turned out. And and you know, it turned out that it turned out the book was even worse than that assessment. They try to make it seem realistic by saying, "Oh, she's not some rookie who never you know raced a day in her life who all of a sudden wins every race and beats every man, you know, without difficulty." They didn't make it one of those stories, but you know, the character and the personality of this woman, Alice Benson, who's the main character, the character and personality of this woman is just, I mean, disgusting. I mean, she manipulates and lies and uses men, by making herself seem uh, innocent, making herself seem like a stereotypical virtuous woman, and she manipulates and lies almost to the point of getting herself raped and possibly killed. I you know I, I don't blame women for being raped, but what she did, and how she lied is like she made herself extremely vulnerable because of her like like completely irrational aversion to telling the truth. I mean, it it was almost like she would lie uh, she would lie just to for no reason. I mean there were parts where you know she would have there were parts where she would have to choose between you know, almost certain death, almost certain death, and telling the truth, and she chose to lie. It's like it got to the point where what was at stake was so insignificant, and she's still lying. You know, and obviously, this is a book that's geared towards women, so uh, they had this tacked on love story, and you know they made it extreme by having multiple love interests, um, this sort of you know I'll call it a fake love triangle, and you know but if you look at the way she interacts with this guy, and the way she thinks about him, the way she behaves with him, and the way he behaves with her, they don't love each other. They don't, I mean, their relationship was sort of uh, they were just acquaintances, and acquaintances who had similar business interests. They weren't really in love, and you know you can tell in the story because uh, there are other people in the story who are, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but it's obvious if you read it that her relationship is not true love. It's not even uh, it's not even admiration. It's sort of even like the way that uh, if a kid falls off his bike and scrapes his knee, you help him off the floor and put a band-aid on his knee. That's basically their relationship throughout the whole story. And so it was a tacked on love story at the end, and for some reason they get married. I mean, you know, her father agrees to marry her off to him, which is like, and coincidentally there's other advantages for this guy who doesn't even really love her. I mean, there's other advantages to this union, and you know, it was really a cop out book. I mean, if I were to, it was a book for cop out to cop out. If I were to write a book on this subject, I mean, you know, you know what would really happen to a woman in 1900, 1920, who couldn't vote, who couldn't, hold office, who couldn't be CEO or, elected president. What would really happen to her if she decided to go around and just start lying and start, uh, promising other people's money? You know, I mean, I mean, you know, uh, sneaking around with guys who like, you know, uh, sneaking around with shady guys who you know, try to manipulate her and force themselves on her, and she sees it, that he's trying to manipulate her, but she's trying to, she's trying to uh, uh, she's trying to persist in that manipulation so that she can manipulate him, and it's this little uh, like a dog chasing its tail, Uh, but that's my assessment of the book At Every Turn by Ann Matier. If you've ever read the book, leave me your comments. Was it a good book to you? Am I being you know do you think I'm being hard on this character because she's a Christian, and you know and I don't believe with Christianity. I don't agree with Christianity anymore. Do you think that's the reason why I don't like this book? Well, leave a comment, and I hope you enjoy this review and have a nice day. Bye.